republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a special meeting of the Elizabethtown City Council, so we will only discuss what is on the agenda. We have the first reading of ordinance number 26, 2018, adopting uniform statewide mandatory building codes. Motion to read the ordinance, please.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance be as follows. Whereas KRS 198B.060 sub 1 requires each local government to enforce the Uniform State Building Code as adopted by the Board of Housing, Buildings, and Construction within its jurisdiction through permits, inspections, and certificates of occupancy. And whereas KRS 198B.060 sub 1 authorizes any local government to require by ordinance permits, inspections, and certificates of occupancy for single-family dwellings. And whereas KRS 198B.060 sub 11 requires the local government to employ or contract for or with electrical inspection services. And whereas KRS 198B.060 sub 18 authorizes each local government to establish a schedule of fees which are designed to cover the cost of the service performed. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Elizabethtown, Hardin County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, as follows. Section 1, adoption of the Kentucky Building Code. That the 2018 Kentucky Building Code promulgated in 815 KAR 7 subsection 120, and that the 2018 Residential Code promulgated in 815 KAR 7 sub 125 by the Board of Housing, Buildings, and Construction, Commonwealth of Kentucky, including all referenced codes and appendices, and together with any and all subsequent amendments, are hereby adopted as if in full as an ordinance of the City of Elizabethtown and the Commonwealth of Kentucky, as if set out at length herein. That a copy of said codes are on file in the office of the Department of Planning and Development, and the director shall at all times keep a copy of said building codes for reference. That an attested copy of this ordinance shall be transmitted to the Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. In Section 2, which is designated enforcement officer, that the Department of Planning and Development shall be designated as the local enforcement agency for said codes. All building code inspections shall be performed by persons certified by the Kentucky Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction. All electrical inspections shall be performed by a certified electrical inspector specifically approved by this jurisdiction. Section 3, which is the building inspection program, that pursuant to KRS 198B.060 sub 8, a building inspection program is hereby established in the City of Elizabethtown for application to all buildings, including single-family dwellings, as provided in said adopted codes. The city shall continue to perform additional plan review and inspection functions in conformance with the agreement with the Commonwealth pursuant to KRS 198B.0605. Section 4 is permits and fees, that the fees for permits and inspections shall be provided for by a separately adopted city ordinance. Section 5, inconsistent ordinances repealed, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are, to the extent of such conflict, hereby repealed. Section 6 is the effective date, that this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force when passed, published, and recorded according to law, and the mandatory effective date of said code shall be January 1, 2019 for the 2018 Kentucky Building Code and the 2018 Kentucky Residential Code. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city and or her designate she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this ordinance. Read the first time this, the 10th day of September, 2018.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Ordinance number 27, 2018, amending the Title V Public Utilities of the Code of Ordinances. Motion to read the ordinance.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And Mayor, this one is with the sale of our water utility. This is amending our public utilities ordinance to reflect that we're strictly dealing with the gas utility now. And so this ordinance strikes any reference to water. And I'll not read the whole thing. I'm going to read the entry and then I'll read the changed paragraphs. Okay. Whereas the City of Elizabethtown adopted ordinances for the regulation and operation of public utilities, and whereas the city wishes to revise the procedures for the operations of its public utilities, namely natural gas and sanitary sewer systems relating to customer services and payments. Be it ordained that ordinances adopted on April 1st, 1957, April 20th, 1959, April 21st, 1969, January 19th, 1970, relating to natural gas, sanitary sewer, and water, and all the subsequent amendments to said ordinances are hereby amended as referenced in the Elizabethtown Code of Ordinances as follows. Be it ordained that by the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance, that Code of Ordinances Title V be amended as follows. So we have stricken references to water and sewer in this one. And we've added in B, under section 50.01 sub B, there's a disconnect service charge, was $10 to $20. It's now $50 to $75, depending on the service location. Then in subsection D, we're striking references to water, and we're changing that service charge, which was from $10 to $200 to just a straight $50. We strike all of E and add this language. If gas service has been off for over 1 year, the city reserves the right to remove the meter. To reinstate service, the customer will be required to pay a new deposit and resolve all past due balances. Pressure testing and installation of the meter is the responsibility of the customer. Additionally, an inspection of the meter by the Elizabethtown Gas Department is required before service is turned back on. And then, see, we go down to section 51.04, and we change the turn-on fee after a voluntary turn-off from $25 to $50. We make a couple of corrections to some spelling errors in subsection 3 of 5106. It should have been rebate, and that's been fixed. We go to B. The deposit has been increased from $50 to $100. And then it says and then we've added this language, at the termination of the service, once all outstanding balances are settled, any deposit remaining will be refunded. And under C, under terms of payment, we strike the first sentence and add this. All bills are due and payable by the due date printed on the bill. If not paid by the due date, a 10% penalty shall apply. Bills not paid within 10 days after the due date are subject to termination of service without further notice. And we go to 51.16, the heat rate, and that deposit has been increased from $50 to $100, and we add that this language, at the termination of the service, once all outstanding balances are settled, any deposit remaining will be refunded. And under C, we had similar language to above, that all bills are due and payable by the due date printed on the bill. If not paid by the due date, a 10% penalty shall apply. Bills not paid within 10 days after the due date are subject to termination of service without further notice. Under the high-low rate, which is 51.17, we add, at the termination of the service, once all outstanding balances are settled, any deposit remaining will be refunded. And then similar language in C to that the 10% penalty will be added for those bills not paid within 10 days from the due date. Okay, we've stricken some language about interest in the next paragraph. In their 5203, we've stricken language about water. Under 52.04, we strike language about water. On 5204, under tapping fees, we strike all the language which is about water. We then go into and we strike all of 5206 because it's all applied to our water utility. So 5206, 5207, 5220, 5221, 5222, all of that is stricken from our ordinance. And let's see, the rest remains as it was. So the effective date of this ordinance is to be December 1st, 2018. Because it was renumbered. Oh, okay. All right. So that's because
That's why that
stayed in there. It's because, okay. All right, cool. Okay, very good. So we'll have a second reading.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I'm a landlord and my tenant pays the deposit and receives the gas service, and then my tenant skips on the gas department, does that prevent my new tenant from getting service?
So doesn't that bad reputation go with the renter?
with the renter.
Doesn't possibly do that. what I thought it was. I'd heard from some landlords that they thought that this was gonna be tied to something.
Might be a good way
Be like the county do the trash.
Wouldn't be very popular.
No.
to. Okay, ordinance number 28, 2018, setting the 2018 tax rate for real and personal property of 11.6 cents per each $100 value. Motion to read.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Be it ordained by the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance is as follows. One, that an ad valorem tax of 11.6 cents on each $100 of value of all real estate and tangible personal property taxable for municipal purposes in the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, being the same as hereby levied for the purpose of raising revenue to pay salaries of officers and employees of the said city of Elizabethtown, to pay for repairs and maintenance of streets and public ways and public and other property of said city, to pay for lighting of the streets, the maintenance and operation of the fire and police departments, and all other proper and legal demands against the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Two, that all taxes hereby levied shall become due and payable on December 1st, 2018, as provided by law, and if any tax bill is not paid on or before January 1st, 2019, the said tax bill will be declared delinquent and shall bear interest at the rate of 6% per annum or 1/2% per month or fraction thereof until paid, and in addition thereto, a penalty of 10% of the amount of tax for general purposes and special assessments shall be added to said bill and collected, being the penalty for non-payment when due. 3, that a discount of 2% shall be allowed on that portion of the tax bill for general purposes if paid during October and November 2018. 4, that the ad valorem tax bill will be mailed by first class to the property owner as of January 1st, 2018, as provided by the Hardin County Property Valuation Administrator. That the payment of the ad valorem tax bill can be received by mail at City of Elizabethtown, P.O. Box 550, Elizabethtown, Kentucky 42702, or in person at 200 West Dixie Avenue, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. This ordinance shall be effective on or after its adoption, publication, and posting as provided by law. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this ordinance. Read the first time, this is the 10th day of September, 2018.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Ordinance number 29, 2018, setting the 2018 tax rate for motor vehicles and watercraft at 11.6 cents per each $100 value. Motion to read the ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Be it ordained by the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance is as follows. That an ad valorem tax of 11.6 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation of all motor vehicles and watercrafts taxable for municipal purposes in the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, being the same as hereby levied as of January 1st, 2019, for the purpose of raising revenue to pay salaries of officers and employees of the said city of Elizabethtown, to pay for repairs and maintenance of streets and public ways, the public and other property of said city, to pay for lighting the streets, the maintenance and operation of the fire and police departments, and all other proper and legal demands against the city. Said tax shall be collected by the Hardin County Clerk. This ordinance shall be effective on or after its adoption, publication, and posting as provided by law. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this ordinance. Read the first time, this the 10th day of September, 2018.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Ordinance number 30, 2018, setting the franchise tax rate of 0.025% on all eligible bank deposits as defined in KRS Chapter 136. Motion to read the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Be it ordained by the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance is as follows. 1, there is hereby imposed on all financial institutions as defined in KRS Chapter 136, located within the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, for the 2018 tax year, a franchise tax at the rate of 0.025% on all eligible deposits as defined in KRS Chapter 136, maintained by such financial institutions. 2, that all taxes hereby levied shall become due and payable as provided by law, together with special levies heretofore made for street improvements. If any tax bill is not paid on or before January 1st, 2019, the said tax bill shall be declared delinquent and shall bear interest at the rate of 6% per annum or 1/2% per month or fraction thereof until paid. In addition, a penalty of 10% of the amount of tax for general purposes and special assessments shall be added to said bill and collected, being the penalty for non-payment when due. It is further ordained that in the event any such tax bill shall be paid during the month of October 2018 or November 2018, a 2% discount shall be allowed by the Elizabethtown Director of Finance. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this ordinance. Read the first time, this is the 10th day of September 2018.
Mayor, it's worth pointing out that these are the same tax rates since 2007. And we still have the same occupational tax. We have the same tax rates. This is the only governing body that has not raised taxes this year.
In the county,
They're here.
in the county.
Is this where you want me to bring up the increase?
Would you?
That's up to you all. That's up to you all.
And it's
Say it, the
election,
one not running.
and it's election season.
I'll be glad to do that. Stay tuned next time, folks.
It's election season.
That sounds like a tease.
That's November, what is it, 11th or something like that?
Wipe out everything you said.
All right, municipal order 78, 2018, transferring property from TDA Properties, Inc. for the Summit Creek Detention Basin Project. Motion to read.
So
please.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
The special meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below. Motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Whereas the City of Elizabethtown has developed a stormwater master plan for the control of stormwater throughout the city, and whereas the city's master plan delineates the development of regional detention basins in the Billy Creek watershed, and whereas TDA Properties Incorporated proposes to develop a subdivision in the Billy Creek watershed to be known as Summit Creek, whereas the City of Elizabethtown has prepared an allocation plan for the funding of stormwater improvements in the Billy Creek watershed to be shared by property owners and the city, be it ordered that the City of Elizabethtown accepts the transfer of property known as the Summit Creek Subdivision, Section 4, Lot 263, also known as 2605 Hutcherson Lane, from TDA Properties Incorporated with the fair market value of, okay,
Didn't know it didn't get put in.
yeah, that's fine. 105, 109. Okay, with a fair market value of $109,470.32 in lieu of an allocation payment. Be it further ordered that the mayor of the city and her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order, including but not limited to executing all contracts, agreements, and deeds. So read, adopted, and approved. This is the 10th day of September 2018.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, municipal order 79, 2018, accepting transmission of line easement from East Kentucky Power Cooperative Incorporated.
Motion. Sorry, Mayor,
Sorry.
that cut you off.
That's all right, Bill. Not the first time.
It's
I'm
not
sure
the
it won't be
first
the
time.
last, so it's all right. You want to second it too?
No, Marty wants to.
I'll help Bill out. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
At a special meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below, a motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Whereas East Kentucky Power Cooperative Incorporated has a transmission line that traverses property owned by the city known as Freeman Lake Park, and whereas a transmission line easement was originally granted to East Kentucky Power Cooperative in 1953 and revised in 1999, East Kentucky Power Cooperative is upgrading this transmission line and has agreed to relocate the location of said line to a more favorable location at the Freeman Lake property. Be it ordered that the City of Elizabethtown approves the transmission line easement from East Kentucky Power Cooperative Incorporated. Be it further ordered that the mayor of the city and her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order, including but not limited to signing a new transmission line easement and releasing the previous easement. Read, adopted, and approved. This is the 10th day of September 2018.
Thanks, Dee Dee.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
I was gonna keep shut on that one.
I wanted to bring in tax thing.
Very
Anybody
good for
like
the
to-
adjournment.
Do we hear a motion to adjourn?
Go ahead, Tom.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Now, what about that tax?
What about that tax thing y'all are gonna do? They're gonna raise taxes.
I know.
I'm not running.
crazy. I know.
They're gonna try.
Mr. Douglas.